Man wanted for violent threats against President Joe Biden has been fatally shot by FBI agents in the U.S. state of Utah. Law enforcement officials have told the BBC that special agents attempted to serve arrest and search warrants at a house this morning. Now, President Biden is scheduled to visit Utah this week, and we'll have more details from our North America correspondent Nomia Iqbal, who's following this for us. But a sealed criminal complaint shows that Craig Robertson was under investigation for making threats against President Biden. According to documents, FBI agents conducting surveillance on his home in March approached him to talk about a social media post. They were told by him to return with a warrant. And the complaint also shows online posts suggesting that Robertson intended to kill Mr. Biden, with the suspect allegedly writing he was, quote, cleaning the dust off of his M24 sniper. And this was, again, just ahead of the president's visit to Utah. So I want to bring back our panel, Tom and Victoria. And Victoria, obviously, this is not a story that we were expecting to come across at all, but very troubling.
No, and it just goes to show you, that we have these ongoing threats, but I think it also shows you the excellence of our Secret Service and our law enforcement who track these things very carefully. Obviously, the president's security is a top priority, regardless of their party. And, we have a troubling history, on both sides of the Atlantic, of political assassinations. We've got to put in extraordinary measures to protect the president and his family entirely appropriately. And I'm very glad this person is not able to pose a threat to President Biden.
Yeah, indeed. Tom, coming to you now. Again, this news is just coming in, and that information is, well, it represents the details that we have at this point, but it shows that this person was apparently under investigation for making threats against the president, and that FBI agents who conducted surveillance on his home really were worried about his intent to kill Mr. Biden.
I don't know what to say, really. I've in the last 7 years, which is the time that I've been covering politics, I've watched it become so much more vicious than it ever has before. I have covered the assassinations of 2 members of Parliament in the United Kingdom. I've been to their funerals, effectively their sort of de facto funerals in the House of Commons. I don't know how we really get back from the brink. It is bleak. Who knows what this person had in mind, and it's not really appropriate to comment at this very rarefied moment. But the violence in politics has gone off the charts in the last, 6, 7, 8 years, and I have no idea how you dial it back again. But you have to commend the action that's been taken and hope that things will improve.
Victoria, do you agree that this is part of a larger trend that we're seeing in politics at the moment?
No, I have to push back on that. If you think back to the 1960s, we lost a president. We lost his brother, a major candidate for the presidency. We had 2 attempts on President Ford's life and a very serious attempt on President Reagan's life. So I can't imagine this is something that just cropped up over the last 7 years, from our experience. But it's something to take extremely seriously. And, as I said, I'm glad our, FBI and Secret Service are on the job, keeping the president and his family safe.
Well, again, we are still learning details about this. But Victoria, you are saying that essentially you think this is an isolated incident, not representative of something larger happening.
Well, I don't. You can go back to Julius Caesar. Violence in politics is hardly anything new. I deplore it as Tom does. I think it's something we need to keep after and root out. And I think this is a demonstration of having more sophisticated tactics that allow you to do that. And I am very happy this didn't get to the degree of an actual attack on the president. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, as I said, our correspondent Nomia Iqbal is going to be looking into this story. Hopefully we can bring more updates to you in a moment. But Tom, how do you think, as you said, you described violence in politics here in the UK. How has that impacted how politics play out here in the UK?
Look, I don't know how to really use this man who's been killed by police officers in Utah as a sort of jumping off point to talk about the difficulties of British politics. Yeah. But there is no doubt that things have become more polarised, and we are not so used to the murder of politicians in this country, thankfully. So it is correct for me to say that things have got much, much worse in this country in the last 7 years, when 2 MPs have been killed, which is an extremely rare occurrence. I accept that the US very sadly has a far worse history on that front. But I do think that America is divided, and I do think what's happening is evidence of that. And I think things have to improve.